Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our salary guide workshop with Robert Half. For today, we have Mrs. Sara Malek as our facilitator. Sara, would you like to say something?
Yes, thank you so much, Eliza, for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here with everyone. I wanted to share with you our 2022 salary guide that Robert Half issues every year, and hopefully you find something beneficial in the guide. And of course, if you have any remaining questions, I do advise you to reach out to me. Eliza can share my contact information later. I can be reached by email or phone, even if you just want a quick career chat or anything like that, I'd be happy to help.
Okay. So I will be sharing my screen so you guys can follow us through the presentation. So here we go. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. All right, so let's jump into it.
Wonderful. All right. So this, as you can see, is the 2022 salary guide. We've condensed some information that we think would be best and most interesting to you. So hopefully you can gather some additional information about the market right now to help you in your future. All right, so we can jump into the next slide right ahead. So just a little bit of background. Robert Half has been tracking salaries since 1950. And we've been publishing these salary forecasts. Obviously, first it was on paper and it was little pamphlets that we gave out, and then into PDFs, and shared those with professionals in the field who have relied on these projections and insights for employment trends during their job search, and as well for employers when negotiating salaries with their employees or new candidates. Now for the 2022 edition, we've decided that it would be completely online. So I will share again after the presentation the webpage that you can visit, and you can easily navigate through the various areas of the salary guide. And that way the information is handy to you whenever you need it. So for the next half an hour or so, I'll touch on some information that relate to the hiring activity that we're seeing in the various industries that we service, as well as some of the perks and benefits that employees are receiving and asking for their next roles. And then I'll wrap up with some spotlight on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and of course, some questions that I could answer while we're all here together. Now let's begin look at the trends that we're seeing across the country. So we can jump into the next slide. So what we have here, despite the worries over COVID-19 variants and vaccinations and all that's going on right now, confidence is still high in business and in the employment market. And companies are actually ramping up their operations and restarting projects after hitting a pause last year for a while. And they are very eager to kind of grow, and they need more people to handle the increasing workload. So a lot of jobs right now. And overall hiring is near or even exceeding what it was pre-pandemic. So according to our research, 43% of the companies in Canada are expanding their hiring for full-time employees. Then we can jump into one more trend that I'll chat about before we jump into the guide. So we can go into the next slide. Perfect. No, sorry, you can go back one. You're one ahead. There we go. So right now, the ability to work remotely has become like a must for many people in the workforce. And chances are good that you've experienced firsthand how much it helps with your work-life balance. A lot of people have been working remotely, and balancing both work and life, and definitely has been easier. And a recent study that we've done found that 51% of office professionals want to work remotely at least part of the time, and 33% of them will leave their position if this arrangement is not available or possible. And companies too have discovered the benefits of the remote workforce. It's given them an advantage in recruiting. They've been able to, like 32% of Canadian companies have been able to expand their recruiting search. So if they're allowing people to work from home, they'd be willing to take somebody from the other side of the country because they can do their work at home. Also, 31% of companies in Canada are advertising fully remote jobs. That is brand new. We've never seen it this high before. And lastly, 76% of the managers that we've surveyed said that they are open to recruiting from outside of their geographic area. So this is both good for the employees and the employer. Employer have a higher candidate pool to choose from, so they can, if they're from Toronto, they can hire somebody in Vancouver, they can hire somebody in Newfoundland. They have a broader selection and a lot more candidates. And it's also good for employees as well, as they can take a job that is, you know, on the opposite side of the country. They have more opportunities to choose from. So definitely a good thing for both if remote is possible. We can jump into the next slide now. So at this point, what I want to do is I want to go into the various industries that we've discussed that could interest you in the future and share with you some of a trend or two about each industry, as well as the salaries that are being offered right now in the market based on our research. The salaries you'll see in each of my slides, they're broken up into a range. It goes from 25th to 50th to 75th percentile. And the 25th percentile is the entry-level workers with little or no experience in the role. And those are the candidates developing relevant technical and interpersonal skills. And even maybe the demand for that role specifically would be low. So somebody just starting out, for example, as a copywriter, they would probably start at the lower end of the range at 58,000, as you see on the screen. Somebody who's got average experience, has been working in the field for some time, would be in the middle of the range at 70,000. And then somebody who's got above average experience, has a lot of specializations, has more certifications than an average candidate, would probably be in the 81,000 mark. So just a way to kind of figure out what percentile you fall in so that you can manage your expectation for a starting salary when looking at a new role. So let's start with the finance and accounting. Perfect. And then the trend here that we're seeing, one of the top things that professionals in finance and accounting are seeing is the talent shortage. The talent shortages and the need for technology expertise are top concerns in finance and accounting right now. More financial processes have been automated because thanks to technology. So they need more candidates who can manage these technologies and use them in addition to the core skills that they have in finance. So just being able to crunch the numbers isn't cutting it anymore. Being able to use the softwares that are in demand in the market and use that to add value to your organization is what's needed right now. And many companies are boosting their compensation for many positions as the market tightens even more and becomes harder to find talent. In addition, more companies are expected to hand out bonuses to their hardworking employees to ensure that they can retain those staff. Now let's jump into the next slide. And in this slide, you'll see here the top salaries that we're, the top positions we're seeing that are in demand if you want to go into finance and accounting. So some of those are an AR AP specialist, so an accounts payable or an accounts receivable specialist, bookkeeper, a controller, which is a more senior level in an accounting department, credit and collections, property accounting. You can see the rest of the list here and we can share that later, or you can pause and read them a little bit more. And broken up is now by 25th percentile, 50th percentile, and 75th percentile for the salaries that these roles are offering in the market. So for example, if you're looking to go into a senior accountant role, to work for, a corporate company, and you applied for senior accountant. If you're just starting out from school, I would say the salary that you're targeting is the 25th percentile for 63,000. If you have some years under your belt, perhaps you've gotten your CPA designation or other certifications that make you a little bit more valuable to an organization, you would probably aim for the 74,000 or the 84,000. So that's kind of how to read the guide here. Now the next slide here will show you, sorry?
I didn't say anything. Sorry.
Oh, I heard an echo there. My apologies. So the next slide we have is top skills and certifications that make you more in demand. So would help you fall into that 75th percentile in this industry so that you can reach for the higher salary in whichever position you apply for. So I've listed some of them. Some of the ones that I want to highlight again is the ERP systems, and we'll talk about that later. The enterprise resource planning systems. So those are the softwares that companies use to maintain their financial information and other information that they use to keep the business moving. Customer information, financial information, marketing information, all the stuff is stored into systems. So exposure to various types of systems would help give you the upper hand in the industry, as well as advanced Excel skills. Almost every role requires advanced Excel skills if you're in accounting or finance for obvious reasons. A lot of work and analysis is done in Excel. Certification wise, most of the roles, senior accountant and above, so those that aren't transactional accounting, those that are more analytics, creating financial statements and budgeting, those most of them will require somebody with a CPA, which is a chartered professional accountant certification, or an MBA. Payroll would require certified payroll manager, a CPM certificate. And those tend to be longer and more challenging programs to do, but definitely worth your time and recommended a lot for the roles that we deal with in finance and accounting. Now let's jump into technology. A very, very hot industry right now, as you all may know. They're making a lot of noise in the news and in the market for sure. So the first trends that I'm going to talk about two trends here. So we'll jump to the next slide. The first one I want to highlight is attention to retention. A lot of workers right now are looking for certain things. And because IT professionals are aware of the number of job vacancies and the scarcity of the IT talent right now, many tech companies are upping their perks and incentives to help keep and attract top talent. Right now, what is on workers' wish list, once you're applying for jobs, you can know what to expect and what you should be getting from employers. Right now, high on the list is the ability to work from anywhere. Again, remote work, I've said, and flexibility is one of the top requirements right now, and many companies are trying to accommodate. The next is salary expectations are rapidly rising. Because they are in demand and there isn't many of them, they can demand higher salaries and they will get it for the companies that need their talent. As well, it's exciting to work for organizations that are using cutting edge technology. They're constantly implementing new and emerging technologies, and many tech professionals want the opportunity to experience using them. A company that's been using the same system forever and has no desire to change it or update it or add new AI tools, probably not going to be super attractive for top talent in the market right now. And while not largely common yet, a popular perk for IT candidates is unlimited paid time off. I think some companies are still testing that out, but I think it's going to be something in the future of the technology market in this space for sure. The second trend I want to highlight, just go back one, yeah, focusing on growing in-house talent. So a lot of times technology departments would outsource a lot of the tasks and work that they had. Right now, a lot of companies are focused on growing their in-house talent, and this is known as upskilling. So upskilling their staff, making sure that they are equipped to be doing what needs to be done and what they can avoid outsourcing and paying additional fees. So how are savvy tech companies and departments doing this? They encourage workers to work with mentors in their field, take additional courses, become certified, and attend non-credited post-secondary courses to improve their skills and add more value to the organization as well as to themselves and their resume. So this is a lot of training and professional development, and a lot of companies are paying for those. Employers know that upskilling not only improves the employee performance and productivity, but it also makes their team members feel valued and appreciated. So therefore boosting their loyalty and their retention to that company. So during your job interviews, be sure to ask hiring managers, what kind of learning opportunities do your employees have here? What opportunities do you give them? What's your training and development budget like? And what's the process? Definitely a good question to ask. Shows that you are ambitious, you want to grow, as well as you get to know how much they care about their employees. Now for the next slide, again, this is going to start to look a little bit repetitive, but looking into the technology industry, these are the top roles in demand and likewise their salary ranges. As you can see, salaries right now are very high in the technology industry because they are, again, in demand, and not many people have all the skill set required for these roles. So companies will pay for someone who can do any of these roles. You'll have some time to review these again at the end. I don't want to just read the numbers to you, but definitely a good slide to take a look at. The next slide we have is skill set, or in-demand skills and certifications that are required. If you're familiar with the technology industry, a lot of these will sound familiar to you. If you're not, this might look like gibberish, but some of these are languages or code languages. If you have any experience with those, very high in demand. SQL, JavaScript, using a lot of Google Cloud platforms, very popular right now with a lot of companies who are moving to the cloud. As well as Salesforce. A lot of companies are doing their marketing and sales out of Salesforce, which is also a cloud system. And then on the right, you'll see some of the certifications that would be helpful to get you to that 75th percentile for the higher salary. And now we'll move on to marketing. So marketing, just two trends I want to share with you here is, again, tech-savvy professionals are in demand. 98% of marketing and creative managers feel that it's challenging to find skilled talent, and they want those people who are tech-savvy, who can navigate the internet, navigate technology that they have to use it to understand the market better and market to their customers. So something to put you over, give you the upper hand over other candidates, definitely to show and display how tech savvy you are on your resume or in your interviews, and how that can help the organization. The next trend that I want to look after is e-commerce and digital projects are driving strategy. So the e-commerce boom is fueling demand right now for skilled marketing professionals. As you can see, when the pandemic hit and all the stores have closed, everything was online. E-commerce, you were shopping online, you were using places like Shopify, you were using Amazon. All these places need marketing professionals to navigate and manage their systems and how they interface with their customer. So because of the pandemic forcing these online sales channels, a lot of companies needed the talent to come in, implement them, and pivot quickly to online. So definitely something right now that is hot in the market is a UX designer, UI design, and digital marketing. All right, so the next slide, you'll see those salaries for those jobs that are hot right now. So digital marketing specialist, an e-commerce manager, front-end developer. So those are people creating apps and website developing. Very, very popular right now as a lot of people move to online shopping and online browsing and away from, in person. Lastly, the skills required for marketing. So that would be the next slide. Again, some things to familiarize yourself if this is a field that you want to be in. Social media, very important right now. And a lot of companies are realizing their social media presence is super important to attracting customers. And they need candidates like yourself who can do this for them, can manage their social media, can tell them who to market to, how to make their ads more attractive to the current clientele. Email marketing right now is also very popular. So just building these skills, finding ways to learn about them and putting them on your resume will definitely help you stand out to employers. Now let's jump into the next industry. Right here we have admin and customer support. The one trend I want to highlight here in this industry is the bilingual. If you're fluent in English and French, you would stand out right away, and you want to put that somewhere on top of your resume, almost underneath your name, to highlight that you can speak French, because right now, in terms of customer support employees, people who are in customer service, a lot of them are looking for people who can speak French. It's considered a big, big advantage by hiring managers, and they're willing to increase your starting salary if you have the French. So definitely, if you have it, highlight it on your resume, make it available, make it accessible, make it the first thing they notice about your profile. The next slide, just again, same thing. The top jobs that we're seeing in admin right now, the hot jobs, so account manager, call center manager, mortgage assistant, office manager, all of these are very, very in demand right now. And likewise, their salaries are shown as well based on percentiles. And then the last slide in this section here of admin and customer service is the certifications and proficiencies that you can do to improve your skill set to make you more desirable to employers in the administrative and customer service section. So some of that would be database management. Again, Excel is very important here. Using some sort of expense management software like Workday or Expensify, or Concur, being able to manage employee expenses is something that a lot of the admin jobs are looking for. Some admin support also manage social media. So any sort of social media experience that you have, definitely something to highlight. In terms of customer support, again, bilingualism, very important. Call center certification, customer service certification, help desk certifications. And a lot of these are things you can enter into Google, find where you can get these certifications and see what the path is for you and what you need to do to make to increase your skill set and make you a little bit more desirable before applying to jobs that are looking for certain things. And now the next section is legal. So if this is a path that you want to take, a trend that we're looking here and seeing in this industry is as companies are recovering from the pandemic, corporate legal departments are increasing headcount and they're expanding internal teams to meet the demands that they're looking for. And they are right now, legal staff, they're performing key roles in business compliance and labor and employment matters. A lot of changes have been happening in the labor market and the incentives given to employees, as well as government assistance programs. So lawyers have been involved a lot, or the legal departments have been involved a lot with labor and employment, as well as compliance with various labor and employment laws. So these are some of the expertise that employers are looking for in terms of legal staff that they're hiring, because they are looking for in-house, right? The next slide, there we go, is the hot jobs in legal right now. So if this is something you want to go into, for example, you want to be a law clerk, you want to start out as a law clerk, move up to a law firm associate, maybe get your lawyer, become a lawyer, various roles, it varies, right, from legal assistant to a compliance manager, and you can see here the various salaries. Next is, well, the last industry that I do want to touch upon, because it is a hot industry right now, is human resources. So previously we had human resource pooled in with admin support and customer service, or like our office teams. But right now we are separating it because it has become a huge industry with a high demand. The first trend right now is managing for retention. Retention is on the minds of all HR managers right now. Businesses are looking for creative ways to keep their talent happy and encourage them to stay put. And they're doing that by strengthening their training and development teams in response to workers' desire for more professional development opportunities, as well as increasing their benefits and perks. So basically businesses are looking for resourceful ways to stop talent from looking elsewhere by working on their total compensation package, making sure their compensation is in line with the market, as well as focusing on what other benefits and perks can we reward our employees with. And that's something that a lot of employees are looking for right now. The next slide, you'll see again the hot jobs in human resources. There's an HR assistant, HR director, manager, generalist, recruiter, and a benefits specialist, and the range of salaries there based on your experience where you want to start out. And lastly, in this section, we have the certifications that you can get to make yourself a more desirable candidate for employers. Of course, the Certified Human Resource Executive is a big one, as well as the Certified Human Resource Professional, the CHRP. Again, something you can research. How can I get this? How can I get started? Is this something can I do part-time? Is this something I'd have to do full-time? Good things to research and understand. as well. Payroll software experience. A lot of HR staff that we're seeing are also responsible for the payroll function, for paying their employees, the company employees. So having some sort of human resource certification as well as payroll is very, very, very in demand and makes you stand out a lot. But that takes a lot of work, of course. So the last section here before we jump into question and answer is the next section, which is the diversity, equity, and inclusion. Across the country, more organizations are integrating diversity, equity, and inclusion into their policies, hiring practices, and corporate culture. Not only is it the right thing to do, but it gives companies access to a broader range of skill set and experiences. While diverse hiring practices bring a range of backgrounds into a company, it doesn't automatically create meaningful inclusion. So as an employer is truly inclusive when you feel safe and supported by your authentic self at work, are treated equitably and have equal access to opportunities as everybody else to move ahead in the company. You're recognized and valued on your team, no matter your background or your role. And you feel like your voice is heard and you know that you're being heard. So these are a key to a healthy workplace. Unless you also feel safe, supported, and valued, your employer misses the spirit of diversity and equity. So a big focus for employers right now is making sure that their employees feel this way. The next slide looks at a diverse leadership team bringing in broader perspectives, deeper experiences, and greater inclusivity, which makes them better at problem solving, decision making, and innovation. And 63 of senior managers actually have reported that diversity in their company's leadership has increased in the last 5 years. So this is something that companies are working on right now, and they have been working on it, and it's on their minds, and we're seeing some of the fruit of their work right now. Lastly, we've got a diverse leadership team again. Sorry, excuse me. I think I'm backwards. Oh, there we go, this slide here. So some of the things that are on the checklist for companies is to ensure all employees are treated with respect and empathy, making diversity, equity, and inclusion a key part of organizational culture and creating an atmosphere of belonging for all employees. Providing transparency into hiring and retention practices is what's going on and how they pick different people. And measuring diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and communicating them to employees and the community. So these are you can see a lot of values listed there in red, and you can see actionable items that employers are doing. Something you can also get involved in different organizations that you can join for sure. So that brings me to the end of the presentation on my end. I tried my best to condense everything as much as I can. So I'm definitely opening it up for questions so I can fill in any missing information or areas that I could maybe give some more insight. And here, of course, are the links for the guide. We can share that with you later, or you can pause the screen and then jot some down and put them in your browser to navigate through it. So I'll open up the floor now for question and answers.
Thank you so much, Sara. That was very informational. Sorry, give me a second. Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. So I'll start off with my question regarding to slide number 7. My question is, what would you say are some factors that are causing the decrease of talent in the job market right now?
Absolutely. So many factors right now are actually causing the candidate shortage that we're seeing for various reasons. Many companies are seeing exponential growth over the past year. And so they're adding actually a lot of brand new roles. In addition to the employees they have, they need more talent to add. So it isn't a direct replacement. It's not that this candidate is moving from here to here, so we're taking another one. No, it's brand new roles. We need new people for it. Secondly, candidates are more particular with the work conditions they're looking for. Again, I spoke about flexibility is a top demand right now. So clients who aren't able to offer flexibility are finding it harder to secure the top talent, and candidates are leaving organizations to find more flexible work environments. And then thirdly, the pandemic has many companies realizing that they need stronger talent so that they can drive and keep up with the growth that they're seeing. And so it becomes harder to find candidates with the right skills. The roles are becoming a lot more specialized and they need specific people for them. So adding even more challenges, as you can probably imagine.
Right. Okay. And then my next question is related to the slide on finance and accounting.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned a lot of the softwares that you said would attract more employers when hiring candidates.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been an accounting major, so I wanted to ask you, do accounting or finance majors usually get the chance to practice or learn how to use those softwares while in the program in college or university?
So having some familiarity with various ERP systems, so enterprise resource planning system, would give a
Mhm.
candidate an upper hand over other candidates. But for entry level positions, clients aren't really fixated on you having used the specific system because they know that that's not always a possibility and will narrow their candidate pool by a lot. But
Mhm.
some sort of ERP system or any system that you've used, or showing on your resume that you are tech savvy and won't have issues picking up new software makes you more desirable. Some of the most commonly used ERPs right now that we see, especially in accounting and finance, is SAP, Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, NetSuite, JD Edwards, Epicor, Yardi. And this is just a simple Google search, and you can see what companies are using for their accounting and finance, and just improving those skills or reading up on these softwares, or maybe getting access to one and playing around with it to show that you are familiar will help out a lot. But definitely by no means is it an expectation to be perfect in it or can do everything, right? There's a lot of training involved when you start a new job, and that's the expectation. However, the skill that a lot of employers won't train you on is Excel. It is almost an expectation after having gone through a post-secondary education that you would have familiarized yourself with Excel and be able to do some advanced functions in Excel, create reports, templates. This is almost the requirement for every position I have worked on in finance and accounting.
Gotcha. Okay. My next question is, would you say that employers are way more lenient and open when it comes to remote work in terms of like allowing employers to work from home instead of coming to the office, or would you say like equal?
So it's hard to answer this question because I think it really depends on the industry of the employer. For instance, the manufacturing industry, we have not seen them really move to remote work for the most part, because their floor staff or the people working in the plant, they have to be there for the plant to function, right?
Yeah.
So the office staff have also been coming in and working in the office so that there's no delays or setbacks for the plant. Other industries, such as like insurance or public accounting, they've managed to go completely remote and it's very successful. They've actually seen some productivity has increased in their employees, their morale has gone up. So it's working for this industry. So my recommendation is to really do your research specific to the industry that you want to go into and understand, is it feasible for me to work from home in this industry? Are other companies in this industry offering the remote options? Is this a fair expectation for me to display during my job search that I'm only looking for remote? If you're going into financial services, maybe that's fine if you've done your research and you've seen a lot of companies offering it. But maybe not for manufacturing or retail. You can't be remote in retail. So it really depends on who you're applying to and what their expectation is of their candidate. So definitely research, and maybe a lot of industries right now are offering hybrid. If it's possible, hybrid is a huge option we're seeing right now.
Okay. That's good. And lastly, so as you know, digital marketing and e-commerce especially is very hot in the market right now. And like you see a lot of younger people that are getting into digital marketing to as a career. With that said, what kind of post-secondary program or course would you say is the best one to take for an individual that would like to enhance their professional background in the digital marketing and social media platform?
So right now, many of our clients who are looking to hire digital marketing specialists are looking for candidates with some sort of marketing, digital management, or e-commerce degrees. And those are offered at many universities and colleges, and obviously some familiarity with working with other companies in their digital marketing departments. Experience is always always an upper hand for sure. So looking into colleges and universities as to what they're offering in these departments, in the marketing department or e-commerce, definitely something to consider, and will help you have some certifications under your belt.
Or maybe business even? Like
So
in university?
e-commerce would be a mix of business and like understanding commerce, as well as technology.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's everything from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me to share such helpful information for my clients.
No,
Thank you
thank
so
you. Of
much.
course, it was my pleasure.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right.